This one had no word problems attached to it. Okay, I hope you understand that. And it kind of just walk you through what we've been covering so far. So give an example of a quadratic function whose graph would result in a parabola. Quadratic always goes with parabola. That's the shape of the graph. It's called parabola. Okay, that is wide. So that means that A would have to be between 0 and 1. Sorry, that doesn't look good. Let's try it again. Okay, A is between 0 and 1. That's what wide means. Points down means that the value of that A value that we're going to come up with, it has to be negative. It has a y-intercept of 0.4. Be specific. It doesn't ask us in which form, so I will choose general form. The general form is usually like this. Okay, so A we know, so we're going to just make up a value for A. So we know it's negative. We can go 0.01. That's between 0 and 1, right? X squared. And the x term is up to you. It doesn't really affect what we're doing here. So whether or not it's there, it doesn't really matter. But then the y-intercept, that 4 should go at the end here. And it's positive 4. Okay, so I'll give you 1 mark for the correct, let's do half a mark for the correct A value and half a mark for the correct C value. Like that last number is supposed to be 4. Okay. Question 2, describe the parabola that would be created by this equation. The width, A is 1.5, right? So because A is greater than 1, we know this is going to be a narrower curve. It opens up because A is positive, right? It's positive 1.5. The y-intercept is 0, negative 17.25 because it's in general form. And the number of x-intercepts, well, you could have graphed this using your calculator, but you also know that A is positive and it has a y-intercept of negative. Okay, the y-intercept is 0, negative 17.25. We know that already, right? So this is going to, no matter what, if it points up, if the y-intercept is here, it's below the x-axis and it's pointing up, you know it's going to have 2 x-intercepts. Okay, so whether you realize it that way or you actually graph it, but just say 2 x-intercepts. That's all I need to see there, really. But how you arrive to it, sometimes I'll ask you to explain. Then you have to know, oh, it's pointing up and the y-intercept is below the x-axis, so therefore there should be 2, right? And then given this quadratic equation, answer the following. So I will walk you through this one more time. You go to y equals, type this in, don't forget your x squared, and don't forget the x term if it's there. Then I'm going to zoom standard. Okay, it is what I expect it to point down. This is a pretty good graph. I just have to increase the y max on my window. Y max, I'm going to go 40, let's say. Pretty good graph right there. I can see everything I need to see, and again, yours may not look the same as mine, but that's fine. Then you find the vertex. This is a max, right? So for every single one, if you use your calculator, I want you to at least tell me a few buttons that you're pressing to get there. Okay, second trace max. You go to the left of the vertex, you go to the right of the vertex, right? Pressing enter every time and then enter one more time when it says guess. So this would be 2.13, 35.48. Okay. We're going to change the marks. I'm going to give this 1 mark each. 1 mark each. So it's going to be half a mark for the actual vertex and then half a mark for the keys. If you're missing the keys, take off half a mark every time. Okay. Now that it's an AC, it's not going to hurt you that much anyways, but you'll remember that hopefully. X-intercept. You let y2 equal to 0, and you go second trace, intersect. And again, if it looks like a doctor's note, that's fine. Okay. we go. I'm going to find the first one, second trace intersect. I'm closer to the one on the left, so I'll just hit enter 3 times. Once it says intersection, you found it. So it's negative 0.67. Oh, that is incredible how this course is just 6-7 all around. That's going to be the rating out of 10. It's going to be 6 or 7 out of 10, Mr. Dirksen. That's what I give this course. Okay, so because you had to find it twice, I will make this worth 2. Okay, B is worth 2 because you have to find 2 distinct x-intercepts. The y-intercept, if you do not give me the keys, it's fine because technically you can get it straight from the equation. You can just state it that it's 0.15. So no keys required. Axis of symmetry, where did we get that one from again? That is a vertical line, and it's the x value of the vertex. So it's 2.13. Don't just go 2.13. Actually, x is equal to. If you forget the x is equal to, there's an error that you might see that I put down. It's notation error. So that's a half mark deduction if you ever see that one. Okay. Equation of the min or the max. In this case, there's only a max. So that's y equals to, it's the y value of the vertex. Okay. Range, it's pointing down, right? So I'm going from negative infinity, right? This is negative infinity here for the y's, right? All the way up to the vertex. And the y value of the vertex is 35.48. If you want to think of just the y value, so this should be 35.48 square bracket there. If you chose to use set notation, y is less than or equal to 35.48. Squiggly brackets. Otherwise, you would also lose a notation mark. Okay. So far, so good. G, determine the values of A, B, and C. So again, I'm going to zoom out here to make that equation appear. So this is A, this is B, and that is C. It's just the coefficients. It's just the numbers. So it's A is negative 4.5, B is 19.2, and C is 15. Okay, so I would say 1 or nothing. Okay, it's 0 or 1 as well for G. If you put x, like if you went negative 4.5 x squared, that's technically wrong. So if you did that, just take off half. Then next time you'll remember. Okay? So, so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for questions A to G, maybe already give it a subtotal. All right, we'll make it out of 8, just for A to G. And the graph, we're going to make that worth 2 marks. So to get rid of the 1.5, and just make that out of 2. Right? And again, I look at my x-intercepts, not too far from the origin, right? 5 to the right and negative 1 or so to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to do it for me there. And this is going to be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So you're telling me that the scale is 1 along the x-axis. For the y, you need to make sure you go all the way up to 35. Okay? So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, negative 50. So you're using a different scale for the y than you use for the x. And then you just plot everything. So negative 0.67 is right there. 4.94 is very close to 5. The vertex is at 213, so that's 2, and just over to the right. This is 30, and this will be 35 right there. And the y-intercept is 0.15, so that should be 10, 15 right there. And there you have your curve. And write down your equation. If any of the labels is missing, take off half once for labels missing. So one label missing, take off half. If more than one label is missing, then you take off a full mark for that. And the next mark will be for the scale, the appropriate scale, so that this looks the way it's supposed to look. And one more time, I'm just going to check my graph against this. Right, I see that the left leg is close to the origin. This one is a little further off, so it does resemble my graph there. So we're doing good. Okay. So this page, if I add the 8 marks that I got from A to G and the 2 marks for the graph, right, that makes question 3 worth 10 marks. Question 2 is 2 marks, so that's 12, and then question 1 is worth 1 mark, that's 13. So this page alone is worth 13 already. So now let's go to the back side. And remember, no word problem for that graph, so that's why I included all 4 quadrants. A parabola goes through -17,4 and 24,4. Calculate the axis of symmetry. And this is where if you didn't know what to do here, right, you notice that they're at the same height. Okay, this indicates that the points are opposite each other. Okay, they're at the same height. One is on the left leg and one is on the right leg. They're right across from each other, looking at each other, right? So I can use this formula for axis of symmetry. It's x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Just make sure the top is in brackets. Okay, so this is my x1. I choose to make that x1. I choose to make that my x2. So it's -17 plus 24. Put that in brackets, over 2. This gives me 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So the axis of symmetry is 3.5. That's the line I would cut this in half. 1 mark for that. You have to have this on your study sheet, right? This is to figure out the axis of symmetry. And it works as long as you have 2 points that are opposite each other, meaning they have to have the same y value. All right, keep going. Describe a situation when the parabola will have 2 x-intercepts. You may use a diagram as part of your explanation. So I would say this, case 1, if the vertex is below the x-axis and it points up, right? So in other words, A is positive, then you would have a scenario, right? So if this is my graph, the vertex happens to be here and it points up, right? Then I have 2 x-intercepts right there. Case 2 is the opposite, right? Case 2 is vertex is above. Vertex is above x-axis and points down. A is negative. And there's variations. If you ask ChatGPT, it may have told you something else. If the discriminant, right, we'll talk about the discriminant in a bit, but not yet. But if you talked about that, that's fine. I'll take ChatGPT's answer for now. But this is what I kind of expect on that one. Is anybody wanting to share their answer? You're thinking maybe you have something going. It could be. There's other ways. I'm going to stick to that for now. Given this function, answer the following. Calculate f of 5 algebraically. This is telling you let x equal to 5. That's what this is saying. F of 5, right? Instead of f of x. So f of 5 is 4.85, 5 squared plus 3 times 5 minus 5. That's basically what you're doing there. And if this is 25 times 4.85, right? This is 4.85 times 25, plus this you can already do as well, 15 minus 5. Okay. If you type this into your calculator, you get 131.25. Okay. So you would get a mark for coming up with that 131.25 there. What did you find in A? The point on the graph, which is 5, 131.25. Basically, when x equal to 5, y would be 131.25. That's basically what you found. One mark for that. Next, the parabola has a minimum of y is equal to 7. If there's a minimum, which way is this pointing? If it's a minimum, you know it's pointing this way. Okay, there's a minimum here. If you want to imagine that, that's y is equal to 7. Okay, that's what it's telling you. So you know which way it's pointing just by mentioning whether it's minimum or maximum. There's a y-intercept of 15. How many x-intercepts will this have? So think about it. I'll do this one more time. We don't know where it is. Is it more on this side or more on that side? It doesn't matter. We know that if this is 0, 15, and the minimum is 7, this is 7, this is the line equals, y is equal to 7, we know it's never going to cross below that line. It's just never going to do it. It's going to do something like this. Okay, this is our minimum. So no x-intercepts. No x-intercepts, since we know the parabola never drops below y is equal to 7. That could be one way of explaining that. And I didn't even have to give you the y-intercept, so that's too much information maybe. You didn't really need that. But here we go. A mark for that. So you're the teacher today, so you decide what you want to give yourself. So one mark, so 1 and 2, that's 3, and 2, that's 5, and 1, that's 6. So the back side is worth 6 marks. So 6 for the back, 13 for the front. It gives us a total of 19 for this one. So cross out or just make that, turn that 4 into a 9. How's that? Beautiful. Okay. I wish I could do that to my paycheck.